Taking someone's life, it changes you forever. You need to learn the difference between who's innocent and who's guilty.
When Michonne was introduced in issue 19 of the comic, it seems silly now, we'd been going for 19 issues, and I wanted to show just how much the world had changed and just how crazy this apocalyptic world was. And so, I wanted to introduce a character that had kind of life hacked the apocalypse to the point where they knew that if they removed the jaws and arms off of a zombie, that they could become fairly docile because they couldn't attack. And it was supposed to be kind of a startling, crazy image to show, like, oh my gosh, 19 issues in and things are really getting nuts. Like, we're really getting into like how different this world is. Michonne as a character is probably a lot more capable and a lot more attuned to this world than Lee or Clem have been, even towards the end of their games, just because, she's lived in this world so long. And so what that means is there's a bigger action element, I think, in the Michonne game than there were in the other two. There's a tremendous amount of backstory and character baggage that comes with Michonne, just because she's existed in over 100 issues of the comic book series at a point when she arrives in this game. And so the player is so much more familiar with her and knows her so much more than they know Lee and Clem when they start those games. Those games are about getting to know those characters. This game is about learning so much more about Michonne. Michonne had this very complicated life. She was this hotshot lawyer who was very career-driven. She had these two kids with the husband of hers that ended up getting divorced, and it's a fairly unique situation where the husband actually got full custody of the kids so that she could focus on her career. And that's something that I think she knew that she would do at the time and was justifying it because, her career was very important to her. But I think as a mother, it was something that always kind of grated at her a little bit. She felt like she shouldn't have done that. The zombie apocalypse happens. Her kids are actually with her ex-husband and they're scattered to the wind. She has no idea what happened to them. She knows that, she chose her career over her children. And so that's something that's, going to haunt her to the end of days. We had this huge storyline in the comic books called All Out War, where basically Rick had united the Kingdom and the Hilltop and Alexandria against Negan and his saviors. As I was going through my notes, looking at, where the book was going after the end of this war, the main thrust of the story was proving that Rick Grimes was right. In order for Rick Grimes to be right, in order for this war to be necessary, there had to be a long period of relative peace. When I looked at it all as a whole, I was like, okay, I've got maybe a couple of interesting stories, Michonne being one of them, but for the most part, by design, this is going to be a very boring 2 years worth of story in The Walking Dead. And I thought, that's probably not the best follow-up to All Out War. And so what I decided to do was this massive time jump. Michonne was gone. You come back and you don't know if she's dead, you don't know if she's alive, you don't know where she is, mainly because her story was actually fairly interesting. After this war had taken place, everybody seemed to be happy, and she was happy, and everything was great. It just didn't sit right with her, and so she had to make a big change. She had to kind of put more of a burden on herself because she felt like she was living a life she didn't deserve. And so that's why she kind of set out on this journey that we kind of see the tail end of in the comic book series. 95% of that journey that she goes on is not seen. That's why I thought this Telltale game would be a great opportunity to actually show that stuff. I think Michonne is such a strong character and there's so much going on with her emotionally. I think that that's something that the Telltale games handle really well, is emotion. Michonne had done a lot of really interesting things that I was using as backstory in the comic, but actually did have the potential to be story, as I like to say. And Telltale, having done such an amazing job with all of the other Walking Dead video games, I just thought it would be a really great opportunity to do a chapter in the Telltale saga that focused on one of the characters in the comic book and also kind of told the story of a big chunk of her life that's missing in the comics. I really trust the team at Telltale and all the writers that they're able to bring in to, expand the world of The Walking Dead and find their own little nooks and crannies to tell stories. And so, when it came time to do this Michonne story, I gave them a block of time. I threw in a couple of characters that I thought, should be featured. But for the most part, I kind of let Telltale kind of run wild. And so while it does follow suggestions that I gave for what I wanted to happen in Michonne's time off, there's definitely a lot of surprises along the way, even for me, that I get to enjoy. All counts, it's all real, and if you're reading the comic book series and you want to stop and play this game, then you'll know a little bit more when get back into Michonne's appearance in the comic and see what's going on. So it should all work pretty seamlessly. Season 3 of the Telltale series is really exciting to me, just because the way that the timeline works, Season 3 will actually be getting pretty close to where we are at the comics concurrently. Like, the books that are coming out now are roughly in the same time frame that Season 3 will be in. There's a lot of really cool, really exciting things coming that I don't think people will expect. We'll be checking in on Clementine again, so we'll be seeing her, we'll be seeing where she's at and what's going on with her, which is going to be great. But also, I think, similar to the Michonne series, I think that there will probably be some more comic book elements that'll be working in some interesting ways. I don't want to reveal too much, but it'll definitely kind of go hand in hand with the comics a little bit more than Season 2 did.
We both know how this is gonna end, Michonne. You like